Hey there everyone, it's Vicki here today designing for Hip Kit Club and I'm using the March kits. My theme today is monochromatic layout, so that's really outside my comfort zone, but I pulled together everything that I had that was blue. I have a really cute photo of my best friend's little boy from about 10 years ago, and he's wearing a blue t-shirt, and I thought, we would match the photo in with the theme. So I'm starting off here. I cut a square out of some scrap cardstock and cut it into 4 sort of wedges. So now I'm just cutting those same wedges out of 4 different papers. So I've got one is just a cardstock from the cardstock kit, and the other 3 are pattern papers from the main kits. So you'll just see I numbered those pieces because I'm absolutely useless at putting these puzzles back together, and they're so simple, and one would have got turned over, and anyway, so I did that. So I put them back on the page with a slight gap between, but I'm thinking it doesn't look right, so I try to offset it a little bit, which I like more, but still not enough. So for the time being, I'm just going to cut out some things. So I'm going to cut out some circles here from this parasol paper, Maggie Holmes paper, and all the blue ones, excuse me, and then just place them around the page. And I'm also going to cut out some of these leaves from this other Maggie Holmes paper. I don't make you watch all of that. The video will cut in a few seconds. There we go. So I've cut quite a few of those out and placed them around the photo for now. So I'm just sort of looking at the other embellishments and thinking, what doesn't look right? Where am I going to put these circles? Where am I going to put these florals? I'm having a terrible time, and I cut a lot of this out because I just couldn't decide what I was doing. But in a second, you'll see that I cut the paper. So I cut it down now, and I make this into more of a rectangle than a square, and I'm happier with how that looks. So it's offset in the centre, but it's also still straight at the edges. So I'm happy with that there. So I'm going to, in a second, I'm going to stick that down. And you saw that I just pulled out some embroidery floss there, and I'm going to do some stitching in a second. So just make sure that's all straight using my T-square ruler. As you can see, my first attempt at putting each piece on was not straight, so I had to readjust. Okay, so that's on there. So now I'm going to poke some holes with my pokey tool all the way across the offset gaps. So you'll just see me do that. I started off doing it with a ruler, but actually I realised that I didn't really need to have a ruler because the gap was quite narrow anyway, so it was quite easy to keep a straight line. So here we go. So here's the embroidery thread. I'm just going to do a chain stitch through. I've done that before. It's just a case of coming out and going back in the same hole, and then coming out of the next hole and catching the loop. There are plenty of tutorials on YouTube if you want to sort of teach yourself to do it, but it is very straightforward. So I'm not going to make you watch all of that. Just a few stitches there, and in a second it will cut. There we go. And when I do that, I also get my sewing machine and I put some other diagonal stitches across the page just for added interest and texture. So I'm happy with how that looks, or as happy as I can be with how that looks. I'm still not 100% sure that I like it, but for now I'm happy. And I've just pulled out some pocket life cards there from the kit and done some backing on them. And that little frame is from the Heidi Swap ephemera. And it's black and white, so I figure a bit of black and white is fine on a monochromatic layout with blue. Maybe that's cheating, but I think it's okay. And there's also a little bit of pink in that bow, but I like the blue with the layout. And it's a boy layout, but I don't mind having florals and bows on a boy layout, especially a young boy. So here we go. So I'm just sort of arranging the florals, trying to figure out how this is going to look. The little black and white corner there is also from the Heidi Swap ephemera, I think. It may be from the Hip Kit exclusives, but I think it's Heidi Swap. So that's more or less how the layout's going to look. But in a second, I'll add a tiny bit of mixed media to it. So here we go. So I pull out the Frostbite shimmers from a few months ago and do some splatters all over the page. And in a second, I also pull out the Lindy Starburst spray from this month. And it's quite turquoisey, but there's some more turquoisey blue inside those circles. So I think it matches quite well. So I'm just going to staple those two Pocket Life cards together rather than glue them. It just makes it slightly simpler to do. And I'm going to glue that vellum frame on the back and some foam on the back as well. And stick the photo. So I'm happy with that little cluster, and I'm going to stick that down with the bow. And I'm covering one side of the bow. I thought that looked better for the boy layout rather than have the bow over the photo and hide anything. It kind of makes it fit there better. So I'm just also sticking down these circles that I cut and the photo corner there, which looks quite cute on an angle, I think. And then I'm going to put these leaves in that I cut on the left hand side, and now I'm thinking about my title, and this is black and white, but it says sweet laugh, and I really like that word sweet. The little polka dot effect of it looks quite sweet. And he does have a sweet laugh. He was such a cute little kid, and he's a lovely boy now. You know, he's 10 years older, but he's a really lovely little kid. No, I mustn't call him a little kid. He's too old to be called a little kid now. So I'm just adding in some pieces of blue from another Pocket Life card at the top and bottom there. Just rough cut a little semicircle and roughed it up with my scissors. And I'm looking at this embellishment to see if there's anything else. And I quite like that little bird, and he goes really well just there. So I put that there, and then I just finish off with some epoxy hearts that are HipKit exclusives in blue, and that finishes off the layout. So there's the final layout. I hope it gives you some inspiration for monochromatic themes and particularly boy themes from the kits, because I know lots of people like those. There are some close-ups there for you to look at too, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I'd love you to subscribe to my channel, but this is Vicky for HipKit Club, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.